My name is David Nolan, and I'm the host of Actuary Voices, the podcast from the American Academy of Actuaries. Today, we'll be listening to a conversation between Maryellen Coggins, the President of the Academy, and Bill Michalisin, the Academy's Executive Director. Welcome to both of you. Bill, take it away.
Maryellen, it's great to be with you today.
And with you as well.
I'm really excited to get into some interesting dialogue about what you've been seeing over your past 6 months as president, as well as just your experience as a member of the Academy and long-term volunteer. So, for those that don't know your background, can you share your current role in the Academy and how you became interested in the work of the Academy?
So I'm the current president of the Academy, which is a 1-year term and a 4-year leadership commitment, first as president-elect, and then president, and then 2 years as past president. I came to this role after years of volunteering in various capacities at the Academy, including 6 years on the Actuarial Standards Board. I became aware of the Academy first as an actuarial student, studying practice notes and actuarial standards, and then more fully once I attained my associateship and first became a member of the Academy. But I became actively involved as a volunteer of the Academy after I started working in enterprise risk management and learned that the Academy had formed an ERM working group from other actuaries who practiced in ERM. I was particularly interested in volunteering for the Academy as it was an opportunity to work with actuaries from different practice areas. Having spent the vast majority of my career in consulting, first working alongside pension and health actuaries, and then alongside life actuaries, I could see how much we had in common, even though our practice areas can be quite different.
How did you become interested in the profession itself?
Well, like most actuaries, I really liked math. And like some, I also liked computer programming. So when I graduated college with a math degree and having no idea about the actuarial profession, I thought the most obvious opportunities for me were as a programmer. And in fact, I interviewed for and was offered several such jobs. But during that time, my mom, who became an underwriter at John Hancock after having raised 8 children, clipped out a small advertisement for a research assistant job in the actuarial department of what was then a P&C subsidiary of that life insurer. Yep, it sounds pretty dry, but Mom shared what she knew about the actuarial career path and thought it would be a really good fit for me. I interviewed for that job and really felt a connection with the actuary who interviewed me. And that was the beginning.
Well, I guess it's true what they say, moms know best. What is it about being an actuary that energizes you?
Wow. So many things, but I'll pick a few. First, as many wise and wonderful women have said before me, there were no particular barriers to entry as a woman. As long as a candidate could pass exams, early career progress was fairly well assured. But what has energized me over time and does so today is the vast array of opportunities for actuaries. An actuary's career path can truly be whatever the actuary envisions for themselves. Just take a look at the huge variety of roles held by successful actuaries all around us. And then next, I'd say what the future holds. We're in a rapidly changing environment. And this environment is being driven in part by the use of vast amount of data and advanced technology. An environment that is so well suited for our strengths. And given that career opportunities are more expansive today than ever before. And I guess lastly, I'd have to say the volunteer opportunities in our profession. Volunteering while working in my professional role has provided me with an extraordinary and frankly, a truly unexpected spark. I'm reminded every day of how truly special our profession is.
That's great. It's definitely great to hear your perspective on that. You've been on a journey as an Academy member and now being the president. What have you found most rewarding on that journey from member to president?
A few things. I guess first, becoming aware of and then seeing the impact of the Academy's support for the profession through its maintenance of and enhancement to our framework of professional standards that focus on our conduct, our qualifications, and our practice as actuaries, and our extremely important counseling and disciplinary process. And then I guess next would be just the extent and the effectiveness of our public policy work across each of our 4 major practice areas, and the volunteers that make that all happen. The quality of their public policy work is extraordinary, whether during meetings directly with policymakers, such as the many meetings held over the past few months with key policymakers during Academy Hill visits, through the development of practice notes, issue briefs, and comment letters, and even as educators during webinars and seminars. Our volunteers are amazing. And I guess the third thing I'd point out is just how incredibly fortunate we are as a profession to have the support and dedication of the Academy staff and staff leadership. I'm in awe of what these 45 or so professionals do in support of the actuarial profession and how truly wonderful and inspiring they each are. Okay, we're going to take a break from talking about me, Bill. You recently joined the Academy as executive director, and that's now 9 months or so ago. Tell me your first impressions of the Academy and how what you've learned since has changed those impressions, or even if it has.
It's a great question. And the running joke is that I'm still calling myself new, but 9 months later, I don't necessarily know if I can still use that term new anymore. When I first joined the Academy, of course, you come into any organizations with assumptions as to what to expect, what the focus has been, where you may want to drive change or make improvements. I think what impressed me the most is I didn't have to come in and make drastic changes. I benefited from having a strong foundation in place from my predecessor and those that came before, as well as an incredibly strong staff and volunteer base. So to me, it really was our people that impressed me the most. As you said, we have an incredible staff, an incredibly competent staff. We have passionate volunteers who give above and beyond, even though it's not their day job. And in addition to that, there's a primary focus and purpose as to how are we servicing the members, the profession in the United States, as well as the general public, and how do we continue to evolve our efforts to strengthen that profession. In addition to the people, I would say it's our focus on elevating professionalism, emphasizing the need for strong standards, the code of conduct, the disciplinary process, the U.S. qualification standards, and then looking at how our work in public policy benefits stakeholders and decision makers, and ultimately the public we serve. And how do we do a better job of amplifying the great work that's happening across our practice councils? In addition to that, how do we continue focusing on our members and what our members' needs are in relation to their work as professionals, and how that aligns with stakeholders who need to understand what actuaries do and the impact they have on society and beyond. Lastly, I would say our efforts. We do such a significant amount of work. It's incredibly impressive when you see it, but then when you get into the background of how it happens, it's incredible what the staff does in addition to the almost 1,100 volunteers in support of the Academy. And I think that's really energizing to me. And it's exciting to see that passion and that willingness across the Academy to continue growing, to continue evolving and collaborating really to improve how we serve the profession and the public in support of our mission.
Fantastic.
With all the change and uncertainty these past few years, your focus on renewal is both timely and relevant. What led you to want to focus on this theme of renewal, and why is it important now?
Well, I'll start with the obvious, and that's the pandemic. As with most organizations, COVID-19 taught us so much about ourselves and others, including how to quickly adapt, how we can better respect the needs of others, and how we can best look out for each other. And during the height of the pandemic, we certainly learned that there are goals that we can accomplish in support of members virtually. However, we truly missed being able to come together from time to time, having those experiences that help spark our creativity, enhance our relationships, and renew our dedication to each other and the profession. The beginning of my term of president really aligned with our return to certain in-person and hybrid events, bringing with it the feeling that those of us who live in the Northeast experience every spring, strong feelings of excitement, energy, and focus. And I think the next thing is the timing of my term also aligned with you joining the Academy. And you bring with you such extraordinary energy and a host of new ideas that will most definitely help the Academy enhance how we serve the profession and our members. And then these two factors, together with our introduction of several new programs focused on the profession and member value, for which my predecessors laid the groundwork, I could think of no better theme for this year than that of renewal.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great theme. And I love the fact that it's timely in the sense of coming out of remote work and coming back to work in different variations. I really think it's been an inspiring message, not only for the staff and the volunteers, but also our professionals and members that we serve. So here we are 6 months into your term as president. What do you see has been most fulfilling in your year as president?
Two items immediately come to mind. So first, the opportunity to meet so many new people, both newly credentialed actuaries and then longtime members and volunteers of the Academy, beginning with the Academy's annual meeting last November, during which my term began, and then continuing at meetings and events throughout the year. And I suppose second, being able to serve our members and volunteers in a completely new way. I truly hope my contributions working together with the Academy's board and Academy staff will serve to enhance the value of our profession, member value, and the experience of our amazing volunteers moving into the future. And for you, Bill, what has been the most rewarding part of taking on the job as executive director?
Yeah, I think it's similar. I think for me, it's been rewarding to come into an organization that was already looking towards driving change and really trying to enhance its focus on purpose and mission. And coming through the selection process, I had the benefit of being exposed to board members that were emphasizing that level of change and really looking to drive meaningful change and consider new and different ways of working and collaborating as a professional body servicing the needs of the U.S. profession and public. And coming into the staff and the full board and meeting other volunteers, I saw that was a message and a feeling that permeated everything that was going on across the Academy. And it really energized me and was rewarding to see that level of change was real and that we were kind of moving towards it together. And change isn't always easy. Change is not always clean. But the willingness to explore it and consider it, I think, has been rewarding. In addition to that, I think it's been refreshing to have discussions with the board around some of the new initiatives that we've been talking about. The fact that we're going to be looking at our strategic plan and thinking about how that needs to evolve over the next few years. looking at member value, looking at ways to enhance the processes and efficiencies of how we support volunteers, how staff works within the organization itself. All of those things I think are exciting to see. And then also just the purpose of the organization. How are we continuing to emphasize our mission to serve the U.S. actuarial profession and the public? Are we doing more, or could we be doing more to enhance our collaboration with the other U.S.-based organizations? Are we exploring opportunities to continue enhancing the work of the practice councils and how we support professionalism? All of that goes back to purpose. And it's easy to come to work every day when the focus and clarity of purpose is as strong as it is at the Academy.
Oh, that's wonderful. Another question for you, Bill. Can you share your views on the Academy's role in helping to develop and grow a strong pipeline into the profession? And I'll add to that too. What do you feel is essential for students to know about the actuarial profession?
I think it's essential for students to know that the profession exists and that it is a profession and a worthy one that they should and need to consider as a career pathway. I think it's important in the context of that understanding to engage directly with professionals that understand why professionalism matters, let alone what does professionalism mean. I am a big proponent of the credential. Obviously, you need credentials in order to become a member of the Academy. And as a result, the Academy has traditionally focused on those that have become credentialed as a priority focus. But I also think it's important for the Academy to expand its reach and focus to encourage and engage those coming into the pipeline of candidates for the credential. That includes our ability to talk to them about professionalism and the fact that the actuarial profession is self-regulated. And what does that mean and why is that important? That public policy work is important. It does touch them. And why is that something they should care about, let alone how is that an opportunity for them to get involved down the road in their career journey? And why does it matter that we have a code of conduct? Why does it matter that we have standards of actuarial practice? And can we be a resource for them even though they aren't yet members? I think those are things that we need to be focusing more on as a professional body in collaboration with our peer organizations. I also think that focusing on students and engaging with students allows us to pay close attention to how we are ensuring a more diverse pipeline into the profession and how diversity and the differences that it offers allows us to strengthen the profession and strengthen the organization as the Academy, because the next generation brings with it differences that add to those generations that are currently in the profession. I'm a big proponent and believer that we're stronger together and that diversity continues to help the profession evolve in support of our mission. Lastly, I am a huge proponent of engaging STEM resources, looking at ways the Academy can support organizations that already are doing a lot to support STEM, as well as diverse affinity groups. So we work closely with other organizations, and we will continue to do so to ensure that pipeline stays strong. Again, emphasizing that this is a profession, it's a worthy profession, and it's a profession that will continue to add value for years and years to come. And it's something that every student needs to consider.
Great messages.
Let me take a moment to remind listeners that you're listening to Actuary Voices, the podcast from the American Academy of Actuaries. On this podcast, we talk to Academy volunteers and leaders about how they became actuaries and what inspires them about their work, both professionally and as an Academy volunteer. Please subscribe to Actuary Voices on your preferred podcast platform.
So let's talk a little bit about volunteerism. I'm a big believer that volunteerism provides us ample opportunity to grow as leaders and make a meaningful contribution to the profession. How has your experience as a volunteer helped you as a leader and as a professional actuary?
So I previously had mentioned how volunteering energizes me, thus contributing to my professional role as an actuary. I felt that as soon as I started volunteering way back when. However, it wasn't until I was driving to a client one day several years ago and listening to public radio when I heard the results of a small study conducted in Europe that focused on career happiness that I really thought, this is why I volunteer. I remember the findings were surprising to the researchers who learned that the individuals who were happiest with their careers were those individuals that supplemented their career with another part-time job or passion, which seems so counterintuitive. But the thinking that I learned was that the career enabled the individual to put into effect what that person was really good at and committed to, but it perhaps involved certain restrictions. While the part-time job was where the individual could be far more creative and exploratory. For me, volunteering greatly enhances what I'm able to contribute to my professional career and my overall fulfillment as an actuary, as it provides me with an opportunity to learn so much more than I would on my own, to meet and work with so many amazing actuaries who I otherwise wouldn't have met, and to potentially to have a positive and tangible impact on others in the profession.
Yeah, that's excellent. I'll tell you, as a staff leader, working with passionate volunteers makes this job that much more rewarding. Volunteerism to me just provides such an opportunity for professionals to continue growing as professionals, to really hone those resources that you can take with you to your day job. I think it's just great to see everyone needs to raise their hand as much as they can, as much as their career stage or life stage allows them to do, but understand the Academy, as an organization, is here for you when you have that opportunity to make yourself available. And, as much as you can, we're willing to leverage all the resources and intelligence that you bring to the conversation to support the profession. What excites you most about what lies ahead for the Academy and the actuarial profession?
I'll start with the profession. I suppose what excites me most is really what has always excited me, which is what I believe to be our unique combination of skills as actuaries. We routinely take highly complex concepts and apply them to real world situations to solve problems or to drive change. And when I think about today's environment, again, where the use of big data and technology is expanding at an unprecedented rate, we as actuaries are perfectly suited to have an impact. Which then leads me to what excites me about the Academy. Among the many public policy topics that the Academy is focused on, several relate directly to our rapidly changing environment. The first being the topic of equity and fairness. How do we help solve problems associated with health equity? Support the use of big data and algorithms while mitigating the risk of unfair insurance prices and practices. We're also focused on climate change. How do we support the measurement, mitigation, and effective reporting of climate change risk? And with respect to our current environment, how can we help inform policymakers and the public about the impact of decisions that they make today that could have an unanticipated impact on the future? I mean, these are all big areas that the Academy is focused on that is certain to have an impact going forward. Bill, let me ask you the same question. What excites you most about what lies ahead for the Academy?
It's a tough one because there's so much that excites me about what lies ahead. Yeah, I will put it into sort of 5 buckets that I tend to focus on as in my role as executive director. The first is really the efforts that we're putting forward to optimize the organization. We're looking internally at our culture, how we enhance the culture to really be a destination for the strong professionals that we have on staff, and how do we continue recruiting and retaining that strong pool of staff. Looking at ways that we enhance our technology, looking at ways that we just make this a stronger and better place to work and come to every day. In addition to that is looking at what are we doing to elevate professionalism? How do we continue evolving the focus of the work of structures like the ASB and the ABCD to support the profession? How does the Academy continue to message and communicate the great work that they're doing so that all of our members have the benefit of that? What are we doing to enhance member value and really improve the relationship with our members? I have the benefit of talking to a lot of members, and it's great to tap into that passion and hear from them and understand their needs, and then bring that intelligence back into the organization so that we can be more responsive to those needs. That, in addition to the relationships with the other organizations that support the profession, is going to be very important in the years ahead, particularly given that we support one profession. And the more we work together, the stronger the profession will be, and the better it'll benefit from our efforts collectively. Looking at our policy work, you hit it on the head in the context of there's not one issue or topic that doesn't touch what an actuary does, and vice versa. There's not one topic that an actuary doesn't have potential impact on. Topics like climate change, looking at topics like cybersecurity, the ethics of big data, the work that we're doing around unfair discrimination and other DE&I topics. There's so many topics that we touch that you just are scraping the surface as to the opportunity that lies within the Academy and with the content that we produce. And then lastly, looking at brand awareness and recognition of the role of the Academy, and how do we continue to ensure that not only do the stakeholders that we work with understand the Academy is there as a resource, but that our members understand that we're here to elevate and strengthen their voice as members in the profession. That excites me because the work we're going to be doing on the strategic plan with the board, the work we're going to continue doing across these 5 areas, we're going to continue to grow, continue to strengthen our impact. And it's exciting to see that. And it's exciting to be able to work with professionals internally like staff, but also with the volunteers to make that happen.
Wonderful.
For our current members and aspiring members out there, what are ways that they could get involved in the Academy?
Well, lots of ways. I say, first of all, take advantage of our volunteer survey to express your volunteer interests. Explore the Academy's website to see what type of work we do, and then reach out to current volunteers who are involved in the topics that interest you the most. Reach out to the Academy directly to understand the different types of volunteer opportunities that exist. And for aspiring members, please know that you do not need to be an expert on a topic to be a great volunteer. Your ideas, your passion, and your energy can truly make a difference.
Great point. We definitely are looking for more folks to contribute their great ideas. When I first joined last year, I had the benefit of attending the Academy's annual meeting, and that's coming up in November this year. Can you share what the event means to you and provide those actuaries and professionals listening a little background as to why they should prioritize coming this year?
So we routinely hear from attendees at our annual meeting that it is like no other event for practicing actuaries. And that has been my personal experience. The keynote speakers have always been thoroughly engaging, each of them highly experienced leaders and experts in their professions. The practice-specific sessions offered during the annual meeting are so content-rich and thought-provoking that I often need to spend time after the meetings reviewing my notes or session materials and even researching past published work of the speakers just to really absorb what has been shared. And the networking opportunities for professional actuaries, both with other actuaries, but also with invited stakeholders, are amazing. So I'd just add, if you haven't yet experienced an Academy annual meeting, try it once. You'll return year after year, as I did and do.
That's great. And just a reminder for those listening, that event happens in Washington, D.C., November 2nd through the 3rd. Definitely check it out. Well, Maryellen, this has been really great. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we look forward to the next 6 months of your term as president.
And thank you, Bill, for having me and for speaking with me. Love hearing from you. Really enjoyed our time together.
Thank you. It's been great.
Maryellen, Bill, that was a fascinating conversation. Thank you both very much. Today, we heard a conversation between Maryellen Coggins, the president of the Academy, and Bill Michalisin, the Academy's executive director, about renewal and change at the Academy. My name is David Nolan, and I'm the host of Actuary Voices, the podcast from the American Academy of Actuaries. Please visit our website, actuary.org, for a wealth of information about the work that the Academy does. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn as well. And of course, please subscribe to this podcast on your preferred podcast platform.